Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are really well. If you haven't already, please hit the If you haven't already, what's happening? Where have I gone? If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button so we can see each other 2 or 3 times a week, depending on how well behaved my children have been, which depending on this video, you make your own judgments. So I know this has nothing to do with beauty, so you may be like, what? Where's the makeup? Shut up, we don't want to know about your kids. But it does occur to me that I quite often, not so much on Instagram, but I quite often on Twitter and Facebook, will relay or post about things my kids have said or done to mortify me, and people think it's hilarious. People love to laugh at me and my embarrassing situations caused by my children. And who doesn't need a good laugh? So I feel like whether or not you have kids, whether or not your kids are way less weird than mine, then you hopefully will get a laugh out of something in this video, because we all just sometimes need to laugh, even if it's at my expense. I would like to just let you know that no children were harmed during any of these stories, and that most of these, in fact all of these things happened in the space of like the last 2 or 3 weeks. This is just my normal life, just constant humiliation at the hands of these tiny little people. I would also just like to let you know that my kids are 4 and 2, so don't think that they're 20 or something and I need to really get a grip of them. If you are a mum or you've been around young kids, especially the age that mine are, you will know they can say or do anything at any given moment, and it is very scary, especially my 4-year-old, the things that she can suddenly say or do in a room full of people in public is quite frightening. You've just always got to be prepared, ready, to, I don't know, run or cover it up or, like repeat something. That's not what she said. It sounded like she said that, but she definitely didn't. This is what she said. You've got to just have excuses ready to go. So the first thing was courtesy of my daughter. Now I like to do, I think most mums or parents in general like to do this. I like to grab her top and then lift it up and blow raspberries on her tummy when I'm tickling her or play fighting her, or kiss her on her tummy. It's just something I like to do. It's fun in the privacy of your own home. I don't like to sort of get her tummy out in public. That's generally not what I would do. But at home we do a lot of tickling, a lot of playing, a lot of rolling around, kissing, loving on each other, all that kind of stuff that families do. So the other week I was in the queue getting our lunch, and my kids were just sat at the table right by the counter so I could see them, and my daughter pulled her top up above her head and went, "Mummy, you will love this!" That loud at the top of her voice across the whole restaurant. God only knows what people thought she was talking about, but yeah, embarrassing. Now, next up, what you need to know for this piece of information is that one of my older little girl is 4 and my little boy is 2. So obviously they have different parts to each other and they find that interesting in general. Now, I had just changed my little boy. Had some friends over where we were having lunch. Just changed his nappy and I had run upstairs to get a new one because there weren't any downstairs, and he was just running around with no bottoms on. He's only 2, it's fine. So anyway, he was running around and one of my friends said, "Oh, look, I love his little bum," because it is the cutest little bum you've ever seen in your life. To which my daughter replies, "Yeah, I love his willy." So embarrassing. Next, again, out to lunch in a public place, sat at a table in a farm shop kind of cafe. So, you're sat at the same table as strangers, one of whom was an older gentleman with a lovely beard, to which you can tell, what this one is coming, don't you? "Mummy, that man looks like Santa," really loudly. Next up, recently, me and my daughter have been having a lot of conversations about people's body parts because she's very fascinated. We've always just called her whole private area her bot, front bot, back bot, bot. That's how we've kind of talked about it. But now we're kind of moving on to me wanting to explain to her, or her asking questions about, her bits in a more sort of grown-up educational way. She wants to learn, she wants to understand why her bit's different to her brother's bits, things like that. So we've been talking about vaginas, actually learning that word, and that's what that part of her body is actually called. And now what she likes to do is ask people if they have vaginas. She likes to go around asking every woman, you've got a vagina, haven't you? Because you're a lady. You've got a vagina just like me. She likes to ask everyone if they've got a vagina. Next up, I was making a phone call, a work phone call on my day off in my house, making a phone call, had it on speakerphone because I was in the office, and suddenly my daughter burst in and shouted at the top of her lungs, "Mummy, Grayson keeps on spanking me on my bot." Perfect. Now my little boy is only 2, so he does speak, but you know, not as clearly and not as many words as my daughter. So his preferred method of embarrassment is mainly to do with actions as opposed to words. The first thing he currently really enjoys doing is when we'll be out, you know, at a play area, children's park, places like that, is just pulling his pants down. And I don't mean just trousers, I mean also his nappy pants, so he is fully naked, while in a field, play area, park, and then just standing there until I notice, which could be a minute or so. The next thing he likes to do is just general mischief. So the other week we were waiting for my daughter's dance class. So they were, you know, in doing their dancing in the room. You know, we're not allowed to watch. We have to wait until we go in to watch them at the end. So she was doing her dance class. We were sat outside with about 20 other parents and children waiting for the next class to go in. We had takeaway coffees. My husband is the most accident-prone man on this planet. So he was stood holding my little boy with his full takeaway coffee. And my little boy just decided to just smack it out of his hand, creating a coffee bomb in the middle of all these people. I mean, I didn't stay and count, but 10 people minimum must have got covered in that coffee, minimum, because we were in, you know, close quarters. And literally we were just all like, I mean, coffee went everywhere, it's all over the floor. I had to go and get like a whole roll of toilet roll, because that was all there was, to clear it all up while apologising to anyone who could hear me. And he just stood there going, ha 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 ha, surveying the mess he had created, as if it was the funniest thing he'd ever seen in his life. Now, I definitely have created this one for myself. I fully know that. I know people are going to be like, wow, what did you do that for? I know. The benefit of hindsight is a wonderful thing. I know this is my fault. So whenever my little girl, not if she's genuinely naughty, if she's genuinely naughty, we obviously have ways that we deal with that. We have naughty steps, we have consequences, all that kind of stuff. But if she's teasing me or, you know, just winding me up or being cheeky in a, you know, a lovable way, then I used to, I don't do it anymore for this exact reason, but I used to like go, right, that's it, I'm going to give you a good spanking. Now I just want to say I don't spank my children. I do not, I never have, I never will. That is, you know, something that I just would never do. Certainly not to a 4-year-old. But anyway, this is what we used to say. I'm going to give you a good spanking, and then she'd like laugh and come and run over to me, and I would like pretend to spank her on the bum. But I know what you're thinking. What an idiot! Why did you do that for? So yeah. So now she likes to like run over to me, point her bum, and go, "Mummy, spank me again. Mummy, give me a good spanking." And she probably goes into preschool and says to her teachers, "My mummy is always spanking me if I'm naughty." I'm surprised someone hasn't been round, to be honest. What a rookie, what a wally. What was I thinking? The next one, again, obviously I've asked for this one. So one of my favourite programmes is Game of Thrones. I watch it all the time, not with my children. I do not allow my children to watch Game of Thrones. But sometimes I'll be watching it and they'll come home from preschool or, you know, get up from their naps or whatever. So they'll come into the room where I'm watching it and I'll just, you know, pause it or like turn it off, but they might have seen a few seconds of the programme. And my daughter always says, "I want to watch this, Mummy, I want to watch your programme. Mummy, I want to watch your Game of Thrones programme." And I was like, you're not going to be watching Game of Thrones, love. You're 4, definitely not. Let's watch My Little Pony. So she doesn't watch it, she's never watched it, but she does know the name of the programme, and she knows that it's Mummy's programme, Mummy likes to watch it. And because she's not allowed to, and she knows I like it, of course, in her mind, it's probably the greatest programme of all time, which, to be honest, she's probably not wrong. However, what this led to was her announcing while we were in the soft play area the other week, Game of Thrones is my favourite programme. Cue every other mother looking at me with horror and disdain for the rest of the day. Last but not least, the other week I went out for lunch with my mum and both my kids, and we had to do a bit of a relay because obviously we had the kids with us. So my mum went up and ordered her stuff and then sat down with the kids while I went and got our lunch and brought it back. Now in the middle of this, my daughter decided she needed the toilet. And so my mum took both my kids past me in the queue, the very long queue of like 30 people. And I was like, oh, where are they going? Because I just saw them walking in front. So my daughter caught my eye and obviously very considerately wanted to let me know where they were going. So shouted across an entire restaurant of people in front of an entire queue of people, "Mummy, I'm just going for a poo because I'm making loads of toot toots." Cue much laughter all around me. And then I was in a queue for like 10 minutes with all these people who had just heard this, just standing there, mortified. But anyway, those are my most embarrassing moments from literally the last couple of weeks. Just a bit of fun. I am obsessed with my kids. I would not change them for the world. I love all the crazy, hilarious things they come out with. They are just incredible. I love how crazy, nutty, bonkers, funny, independent they are. I just love kids in general, and these are the times of our lives. Like, these are the things I just never stop laughing. They honestly make me so happy and entertain me so much. I just wanted to share some of that with you guys. I hope that this has given you a little bit of a giggle at my expense. I am always down for that. Please, please share with me in the comments hilarious things that you've heard kids or your kids have said or done to embarrass you. Let's be embarrassed together, because misery loves company. I know I do. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I really would love to see you again in a future video, so don't forget to subscribe before you go so I can see you again. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye, 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 bye.